I'm David Ringstrom, a CPA in Atlanta, and welcome to Excel Agility, looking beyond the if, and, or logic functions. With our time to go today, we're going to be focusing on the decision-making formulas in Microsoft Excel. Lots of us know how to use the if function, but we're going to be looking at ways to enhance the if function and then also go beyond it. Many times the if function becomes kind of a blunt instrument in Excel where users start nesting, they start stacking the if functions together because they don't realize that there's other ways to accomplish decision making in Microsoft Excel. So that's going to be the focus of our time to go today. The presentation is designed to be interactive. Some of this learning comes from your questions, so please feel free to chime in with as many questions as you like during the presentation. I always try to field questions in the moment when they arrive, and so as I'm going through the material, if there's any of these worksheet functions that I go through too quickly and you want me to spend a little bit more time on it, do hold me accountable. I'm always happy to go back in and elaborate on anything. So if I'm going through the material and something does not make sense to you, feel free to chime in with a comment or a question, and I'll be happy to make sure that you gather all the knowledge about that function so that you're not feeling like that just didn't make sense just then. There will be 6 polling questions that you'll need to respond to, all of them, to document your attendance for your CPE certificate. Sometimes, though, questions maybe arrive later on. Maybe you take in the knowledge and then you're trying out some of these functions one day in a spreadsheet and you get stuck. You can't quite get there. You know, it feels like a bridge too far to accomplish what you want. Don't hesitate to email me questions like that. You can send them to ask@davidringstrom.com. I'm happy to entertain any sort of question about Excel. It does not have to be limited to today's material. It does help me in my work to see where folks are getting stuck and or frustrated in Microsoft Excel. Let's go ahead and get the first of our 6 poll questions out of the way.
Okay, guys, want to see what version of Excel you're using. 2016, 2013, 2010, or 2007. And we'll give you about 20 seconds on these, and then we'll get right back to the presentation. Okay, looks like they're all in, David.
All right, great. So most of the material that I've chosen for today will apply equally to all 4 versions of Excel. There are going to be at least one worksheet function that only is available in Excel 2013 and onward. There's also going to be a couple that are only available if you're an Office 365 user for Excel 2016. So we're going to be in a much different space with regard to the Office 365 version, and I'll elaborate on that further when we get to those particular worksheet functions. You will see everything at least twice today. I will first walk you through, I'll break down the functions on a PowerPoint slide where we break down all the arguments and have an example based around that. Then I'm going to go to Excel 2016 and write out the functions so that you'll get to see the formulas written on the screen there as well. You can download from the handouts section the example workbook that has most of the examples I'll be teaching from today. That workbook also has a related articles tab that has links to articles I've written that relate to today's material. So I do try to leave you with a lot of takeaways from choosing one of my presentations. Let's start out with the granddaddy of logic functions in Excel, and it's going to be the if function. So what an if function allows us to do is to have different results displayed in a worksheet cell based on making a decision. So we're going to start out with a set of grades and make some decisions based around those. And the if function, if you've not used it in the past, has 3 arguments. The first argument is a logical test. And that logical test has to be a calculation that can be expressed as either true or false. So the logical test is going to involve an equal sign somewhere in there usually. And then also, often it can include a greater than or less than sign. It doesn't always have to have an equal sign, but the way that the test gets derived is going to, the answer to that test is going to be either the word true or false. We are going to see that Excel has a host of worksheet functions that we can use to test for different things that also will return true or false for us. We'll be seeing some of those. So with the if function, we then have a value if true argument. so that if our test returns true, what do we want to display? So that could be words or numbers, or it could be another formula. And that's often where folks start running into trouble, is they start nesting if functions unnecessarily. And so we'll see some examples of that in a bit. There's also a value of false. It too could be another formula. It could be a number, text. And if we are putting any text, that text does need to be enclosed within double quotes.